Okay, step 2 came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. They use the frame power greater than ourselves in this step to introduce the idea that although for most people that power we would call God, and we would have different interpretations of what God is depending upon our religion or our spiritual beliefs, but that they wanted to leave that open so that if a person was atheist or agnostic, that they could still come into the program. The key thing here is that you cannot be the higher power. You on your own got yourself into the situation that you're in, and if the only thing that you have to rely on is the highest power that there is yourself, then you're probably going to continue to stay stuck where you're at. You need to rely on additional something. So for me, I imagine this image from the Sistine Chapel of God as this old white man that is up on the clouds, and he touches fingers with Adam, and the spark of energy of life goes through to Adam. So that's a lot of what I grew up with, but I don't believe that God is a old man who lives up on the clouds. That was an image created by Michelangelo because he had to put something up to represent God and the beginning of creation of humans. And so this is how he represented it. But that itself is not God to me. So I came up with, I can believe or not believe whatever I want about God. It doesn't change God, it changes me. So the way that I live my life with a connection to some power that is greater than myself, and I do believe in God, I do believe in the power of a creator and the power of a Holy Spirit, and so those are very central to my beliefs, but my beliefs don't have to be what your beliefs are. Some ideas of higher power that I want to present is that higher power can be the intelligent design. So we have the sun, which puts energy down on the earth. The earth has water that is salt water, and from there the sun causes that water to evaporate into H2O, and those gas molecules evaporate into the air. There's condensation. When it gets cooler, it rises up and becomes cooler and then goes over the land. There's precipitation that causes rain to fall down. When the water was absorbed, it was H2O and no salt or any other minerals that were in the sea, just the gases. And when those gases bond back together and make rainwater, it's fresh water. And animals that are on the land, including humans, need fresh water to live. We can't live off of salt water. So this cycle that happens makes it possible for life of plants and animals on the earth as opposed to those who are in the oceans. We also have on the earth the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So we have plants that they take in carbon dioxide, and then what they put out is oxygen. And humans and other animals take in the oxygen and put out carbon dioxide. So we're in a symbiotic relationship with the plants of the earth. And so these things were created before I was ever born. And so I am not a power greater than this. This is a power greater than me. There's an intelligent design to it that allows there to be life of plants and animals on earth. So this is something that, through its intelligent design, is definitely a power greater than I am. Another part of intelligent design is that we have the sun is in the center of our solar system. We've got all these other planets, including Earth. Earth happens to be at just the right place so that we can have that water and the condensation and then make fresh water, and we can have the oxygen and carbon dioxide and all of those systems that are in place to support life. So that the Earth happens to be in the right place for that to happen. And the Earth rotates from where it's pointing towards the sun, as if that's my thumb, and it rotates around and then points towards that spot points towards the sun again, that's what is one day. It orbits all the way around the sun and comes back to the same spot, and that's 1 year. So however we choose to measure time in minutes and hours, and it's like that's a man creation of how to measure it, but a day actually exists as a measure of time with the rotation of Earth. A year actually exists as a measure of time as one rotation around the sun. So one orbit around the sun. The weather, the seasons, gravity itself, again, if we were told that gravity was going to end tomorrow and we have to go out and keep the sun in the right place with the Earth so that we can continue to support life here, we have to keep the Earth rotating and orbiting, it would not be possible for all the living things on Earth to do that. So that's a power not only greater than me, it's a power greater than all of us, is the gravity that keeps that happening. And all these planets don't just bump into each other at any point in time. So again, that's a power greater than me. There are many, many powers greater than me. All of these work in my life because I can't just say, well, I don't believe in gravity and then I'm going to float off into the sky. That gravity is going to do what gravity does regardless of whether I believe in it or not. And that it's the same thing, I think, with God, is that God does God's business, takes care of what God is supposed to take care of, allows me free will to do what I'm going to do, whether it's good or it's bad. That is all on me. But God, I think, is the source of all of these things, the gravity and the systems that keep us all alive. And without that, I wouldn't be here. So it's a power greater than me. I can't control it. Another system on Earth is the system of creation, evolution in a repeating cycle, and that's the flow of life's energy. That plants grow, blossom, drop seeds. The seeds sit on the ground, and some of them work their way into the ground, and then they are able to have the ability to sustain their own life and grow and blossom back into plants again. So you have a cycle happening there. People have the ability, it takes a woman who has the egg, man who has the sperm or seed, and the two of them come together. Both the sperm and the egg are able to self-sustain and live separately, but when they come together and bond, then you have the DNA that comes together and creates a new person. And so that egg and that sperm are both unique, and that coming together made the person who will eventually come out and be born. And so in that, you have cells splitting and multiplying and dividing, and eventually they start, those different cells start forming different systems of the skeletal system, the nervous system, the digestive system, the respiratory system. All of those different systems end up synchronizing and working together, because in the long run, those individual cells of an egg and a sperm cannot live for that long. So they will only sustain their lives for a short period, but once they are together, then they work together to form all the systems that make a person. That's an evolution. So there's creation when it comes together, then there's an evolution of those cells turning into an infant, which then the infant outgrows its space and needs to come out into the earth, into the world. And so all of that is a system that was created long before me. I don't control it. Again, it's a power greater than I am, and it's an intelligent design. So one of the things in AA, in working the steps, is that you start wanting to have a better understanding and better relationship with your higher power, whether that be God or whatever it is for you. So some of that is, in gaining an understanding, is you have to think about, well, what qualities does your higher power or God have? And so for me, I came up with that it is a power that connects us all. It does not discriminate and choose winners and losers, or some of us are good and some of us are bad. I think it just creates life in us, the energy of life to sustain us, and that we then choose what we're going to do with that. So it belongs to all of us equally, that there is not one religion that owns God and another religion it does not, in my belief. And so all of us own God, whether we are a part of a church or religion or not, that we are all connected to and equally a part of the energy of life and God. It's a power that is beyond our control. If we could control it, then we would be God and it would be serving us. And instead, this is the power that has the power of creation over all of us. And without that and those other intelligent designs that are signs of that God exists, that none of us would be here. It does have intelligent design. It is the energy of life to me, that in religious terms you would call that the Holy Spirit, which is, most religions consider that to be at least a part of God, if not all of God. So it does not want your money, and it gives you free will that is free for all of us. That again, on earth we do things and make decisions and treat other people in ways where we try to make people not equal, but I don't think that is God's design. I think that is human design and shows character flaw. So anyways, you have free will to do what you want to do, and so what I'm asking is, how will you choose to spend yours? How will you choose to use your free will? Will you do things to try to be beneficial to yourself and other people and make the world a better place? Or will you choose to look out for number one and take advantage of other people while you continue to gain at others' expense? It's like you have the choice. You could do either one. I don't think that God is going to stop you from doing that, because I see way too many examples of people doing exactly that and benefiting from it. But again, I don't believe that that's our purpose. And so this is a little bit of my coming up with what does my higher power, God, have in terms of character quality. This certainly is not a complete explanation of God. I could not possibly totally comprehend God. And again, your interpretation could be completely different than mine, and that's okay. I accept that you don't have to live by my God. I don't have to live by yours. In the program, when people are feeling like they don't have an understanding of God, that here are some of the suggestions that are made, that you could use GOD as good orderly direction. So just live your life in good orderly direction. Think of what your purpose is, what you're doing before you behave in any way, and then try to have a good orderly way of how you're directing your life. For some people, they'll say that the group itself, that the group conscience is what they see as their higher power, because the group of people that they go to their 12-step meetings, the fellowship, is more powerful than them by themselves. That by themselves they would be out using and following their addiction, but in the group they're able to stop doing that and to start looking at how to live their life in a better way. And so a group of drunks or a group of druggies is GOD. That there's some passages in the big book that say God as you understand him, also a power greater than yourself. And so again, that's one of the things that is very important, is that again, if you're your own God, you're the highest power in the world, then you got yourself into the hole that you're in. So you probably are going to have a hard time getting yourself out of that without something else, even if it's just another group of people. But somehow you're going to need some help. And so the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit is from all Christian religions. Other ones that are not Christian religions may just have the Father, the Creator, and the Holy Spirit, which is the energy of life. But in Christian religions, we also have Jesus, which is the Son. And as I mentioned earlier, you could use gravity as your higher power. If you think that you're a higher power than gravity, then step outside and tell gravity you don't believe in it and see what happens. I don't think you're going to float off. So you don't have control over gravity. the forces of nature. Many people that they admire and are grateful to all of what nature gives to us and this planet that we live on, and so the forces of nature and the earth itself are a higher power for many people. In Star Wars, the Force, it talked about, you know, having this energy which you could tap into, and in that you had a positive energy and a negative energy. And again, so that could be a belief that a person has. And in my own, I just believe it's the energy, and that once you take it in and then you put it back out into the world, you either choose to do positive or negative with it. So I think the energy is energy, and you can do with it as you want. I've certainly been in situations where there was a lot of negative energy being sent my way, and that I was able to make a choice to be calm and helpful to people, even in a situation which was negative. I turned the energy that I put back out to others as being kind, loving, and caring. And again, as I said, for me, it's just the energy of life. That there was someone in the program sometime, long time ago, before I got into the 12-step program, that said that, you know, a higher power could be anything. It could be a doorknob. For me, I kind of look at that and say, you know, either you have an awesome doorknob, or you have very low self-esteem to think that a doorknob is a power greater than you. So I think that a power greater than you needs to be a power greater than you. But, you know, again, you get to decide what your higher power is. So if you're happy with the doorknob today, hopefully your understanding will move on to something that's more useful, because I'm not quite sure how a doorknob's going to keep you sober or help you live a happy and valued life. But so at one point, if you were using alcohol or drugs, the drugs were your higher power. I ask, how's that working for you? That if you think that the use of drugs is giving you a better quality of life, then you will probably continue to stick with using that. But if you've come to the conclusion that, as we said in step 1, your life has become unmanageable and that you're powerless, that you might want to find a power that is greater than the drugs and eliminate those from your life. So abstain.